The Varaha Upanishad, presented by Svayam Prakash Sharma, Part 5a. The next two parts, Part 5a and 5b, consist of Chapter 4, in which the great sage Ribhu tells Nigadha about the 7 stages of development and the 4 stages of Jiwan Mukti. Part 5a deals with the 7 stages of development of wisdom, and Part 5b deals with the 4 stages of Jiwan Mukti. The Upanishad. Once Nigadha asked Lord Ribhu to enlighten him on the characteristics of Jiwan Mukti. Ribhu agreed to do so and said to Nigadha, Nigadha, in the 7 Bhumikas, or in the 7 stages of development of wisdom, there are 4 kinds of Jiwan Muktas. First of all, I will tell you about the 7 Bhumikas, or about the 7 stages of development of wisdom, and then I will tell you about the 4 Jiwan Muktas. Of the 7 stages of development of wisdom, the first stage is that of Shubh Ichha, or of having good desire. The second stage is that of Vicharana, or the stage of inquiry. The third stage is the stage of Tanu Manasi, which is the stage where the mind is thinned. The fourth stage is that of Sattva Patti, which is the stage of attainment of Sattva. The fifth is the stage of Samshakti, the stage of non-attachment. The sixth is the stage of Padartha Bhavana, which is the stage of analysis of objects. And the seventh and the final stage of development of wisdom is the stage of Turiya, the fourth or the final stage. Now I will explain Bhumika to you. Bhumika is of the form of the Pranav Om, and it is formed of the 4 letters A, U, M and the Ardhamatra. Each of these 4 letters is further of 4 kinds on account of the differences of whether they are sthul or gross or physical, whether they are sukshma or subtle, whether they are bij, seed or causal, or whether they are sakshi or witness. Their states are 4, which are the waking state, the dreaming state of sleep, the dreamless state of sleep, and the state of Turiya, the 4th. Now we will discuss them one by one. First of all, with regard to the letter A, a person who in the waking state identifies himself in the gross or in the physical essence of A is termed Vishwa. If he identifies himself with the subtle essence of A, then he is termed Tejas. If he identifies himself with the Bij, the seed of the causal essence of A, he is termed Pragya. And if he identifies himself with the Sakshi or with the witness essence of A, then he is termed as Tejas. The same applies to all the other 3 alphabets, to U, to M and to the Ardhamatra as well. Thus, in the dreaming state, a person who identifies himself in the gross or in the physical essence of U, he is Vishwa. If he identifies himself with the subtle essence of U, he is Tejas. If he identifies himself with the seed or with the causal essence of U, he is Pragya. And if he identifies himself with the Sakshi or with the witness essence of U, he is termed Turiya. Similarly, in the dreamless state of Sushupti, in the letter M also, we have the Vishwa stage, the Tejas stage, the Pragya and the Turiya states, according as the person identifying himself with the physical, with the subtle, with the Bij or causal, or with the Sakshi or witness essence. The same is the position in the Ardhamatra, where we have the Turiya Vishwa, we have the Tejas, we have the Pragya, and we have the Turiya stages. Now the Turiya essence of A, it embraces the first, the second and the third Bhumikas, or it embraces the first 3 stages of the 7 stages of development of wisdom, which are Shubh Ichha or good desire, Vicharna or inquiry, and Tanu Mansi or thinning of the mind. The Turiya essence of you, it embraces the 4th Bhumika, which is Sattvapatti, the attainment of Sattva. The Turiya essence of you embraces the 5th Bhumika, which is a Samshakti or non-attachment. The Turiya essence of the Ardhamatra is the 6th stage, which is Padartha Bhavna, which is the analysis of objects. Beyond this is the 7th stage or the final stage of Turiya, the 4th. The person who functions in the first 3 Bhumikas of Shubh Ichha, of Vicharna and of Tanumansi, he is called a Mumukshu. The person who functions in the 4th Bhumika of Sattvapatti, he is called a Brahmavit. The person who functions in the 5th Bhumika of Asamshakti or non-attachment, he is called Brahmvidvar. The person who functions in the 6th Bhumika of Padartha Bhavna or analysis of objects, he is called Brahmvidvariya. And the person who functions in the 7th Bhumika of Turiya is called Brahmvidvarishta. With reference to what I have just told you, there are the following shlokas. Shubh Ichha is said to be the first Gyan Bhumi. It is said to be the first stage of wisdom. Vicharna is the 2nd stage of wisdom, and Tanu Manasi is the 3rd stage of wisdom. Sattvapatti is the 4th stage of wisdom. Then comes Asam Shakti as the 5th stage of wisdom. Padartha Bhavna is the 6th stage of wisdom, and Turiya is the final 7th stage of wisdom. The desire that arises in a person after resolving, shall I be ignorant? I will study the holy books and I will be in the company of the wise. This desire in a person is termed by the wise as Shubh Ichha, as good desire. The association with the wise, the company of the wise, the study of the holy scriptures, the Shastras, and following of the right path that precedes the practice of indifference, that comes before the practice of indifference, is termed Vicharna or inquiry. That stage wherein the hankering after, wherein the craving after sensual objects is thinned through the 1st and the 2nd stages of Shubh Ichha and Vicharna, is said to be Tanu Manasi, the thinning of the mind. That stage wherein in a person who, having become indifferent to all sensual objects through the exercise in the above 3 stages of Shubh Ichha, of Vicharna and of Tanu Manasi, his chit gets purified, and the purified chit or consciousness rests on the Atma, which is of the nature of Sat, that is called Sattvapatti. The light of Sattva Guna, or the manifestation of Sattva Guna, that is firmly rooted in a person, without any desire for the fruits of action. Through the practice in the above 4 stages of Shubha, of Vicharana, of Tanumanasi and of Sattvapatti is termed a Samshakti or non-attachment. That stage wherein through the practice in the above 5 stages a person having found delight in the Atma has no conceptions of the internals or of the externals. He does not know the internal or the external, even though these are right in front of him. And he engages in actions only when impelled to do so by others, only when he is forced to do so by others, is termed as Padartha Bhavana or analysis of objects, the 6th stage. And the stage wherein, after exceedingly long practice in the above 6 stages, a person is immovably fixed in the contemplation of the Atma alone, without the differences of the universe, is the 7th and final stage called Turiya. The 3 stages of Shubha, of Vicharana and Tanumanasi are said to be attained with differences and non-differences of the universe. They are attained amidst the differences and non-differences of the universe. This is because the universe that a person sees in the waking state, he thinks that universe to be really existent. He thinks that universe really exists, though in reality it does not exist. When the mind is firmly fixed on the non-dual one, on the Atma or Brahm, and the conception of duality is put down, the conception of duality is rejected, then a person sees this universe as a dream through his union with the 4th stage of Sattvapatti, the attainment of Sattva. Just as the clouds of autumn disperse and vanish, in the same way this universe also perishes, O Nigadha. Be convinced that such a person has only Sattva remaining. Then, having ascended the 5th stage, called Sushupti Pad, the dreamless sleeping seat, a person remains simply in the non-dual state, being freed from all the various differences that exist in the universe. Then, always having introvision, and though always participating in the external actions, those persons that are engaged in the practice of the 6th stage are seen like ones who are sleeping when fatigued, or who are sleeping like ones who had been freed from all affinities, who have been freed from all cares and worries. Lastly, the 7th stage, which is the ancient and which is called Gur Sushupti, is generally attained. Yes, the state of Gur Sushupti is generally attained. This concludes part 5a of the Varaha Upanishad. Om Shanti 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 Om.